In the dimly lit auction house, the air was thick with indifference. A German shepherd, once a proud military service dog, lay motionless on the cold concrete floor. His body bore the scars of a past filled with unspeakable hardship, a testament to the betrayals he had endured. The auctioneer's voice cracked with desperation as he called out, "Starting bid at $50? Anyone?" Laughter rippled through the crowd. "Not worth a dime," someone muttered. "Damaged goods," and another voice added. Then a chair scraped against the floor. From the back row, a man in a worn military jacket stood, his face half hidden in shadow. His voice, steady yet haunted, cut through the mockery. "I'll take him." The room fell silent. No one knew it then, but this moment would change everything. Before we dive deeper into this powerful story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And if you believe in second chances, make sure to like and subscribe to Timeless Stories, where we share the most inspiring, real-life tales that deserve to be heard. Nathan Cole had seen his fair share of broken things. At 34, his calloused hands and distant gaze spoke of battles fought far from home. 3 years had passed since he left the military, but the war had never truly left him. His Montana ranch, inherited from his grandfather, had become both a sanctuary and a prison. His days followed the same routine. Coffee at dawn, tending to the horses, and wrestling with memories that refused to fade. The local VA office called regularly, their voices leaving echoes on his answering machine. The medications they prescribed gathered dust in his cabinet, but that morning something in the local paper's classified section caught his eye. Former military dog, aggressive, no training possible, final auction before euthanasia. 6 lines of text made his hands tremble with a rage he hadn't felt in years. Military service dogs were meant to be honored, retired with dignity, not discarded like old equipment. Nathan knew what he had to do. At the auction house, under the harsh glare of fluorescent lights, the shepherd's dull coat barely covered his protruding ribs. The wounds along his body spoke of something far darker than honorable service. But it was his eyes that struck Nathan the hardest. He had seen that vacant, hollow stare before, in the mirror every morning. Among the small crowd stood Olivia Bennett, the town's veterinarian, who had been quietly fighting for the dog's safety. Her attempts to intervene had been buried under layers of bureaucracy and military paperwork she could not access. She watched Nathan with a mixture of hope and concern. Could this broken soldier help this broken dog, or would they only shatter each other further? The paperwork took less than 15 minutes. No questions asked, just $200 and a liability waiver that Nathan signed without hesitation. The ease of it all made his stomach turn. A military service dog sold off like unwanted property. "He's all yours," the auctioneer said, handing over a worn leather leash. "I'd recommend a muzzle. He's unpredictable." Nathan approached the shepherd slowly, his boots echoing on the concrete. The dog remained motionless, his muscles tense, ears slightly flattened. "Hey, buddy," Nathan said softly, crouching down a few feet away. "I'm Nathan. I'm not going to hurt you." The dog's eyes flickered toward him, a brief moment of recognition amid the darkness. "What's his name?" Nathan asked Olivia. "They called him Zero," she said, bitterness in her voice, "because that's what they think he's worth." "That's not your name anymore," Nathan whispered to the dog. "We'll find you a better one." Then in a flash, the German shepherd lunged, teeth bared, a blur of motion aimed at Nathan's throat. The auction staff gasped, but Nathan remained perfectly still. Their eyes met, and something passed between them. Recognition, perhaps, a shared understanding of pain. The dog hesitated. Inches from Nathan's neck, he stopped. Hot breath mingled with the scent of fear and aggression. Then slowly the shepherd backed away, confusion replacing rage in his eyes. "He should be put down," someone muttered. "Too dangerous." "No," Nathan said firmly, standing. "He's coming home with me." The ride back to the ranch was silent. The shepherd refused to move voluntarily, so Nathan simply sat on the ground outside the auction house, speaking softly about his land, the open skies, and quiet mornings. Hours passed before the dog took his first tentative step toward Nathan, then another. By the time they reached the truck, he walked beside him, not trustingly, but willingly. That first night was a battle of patience. Nathan had prepared a warm space in the barn, but the dog refused to enter. his body trembling at the doorway. Whatever had been done to him, confinement was his greatest fear. "All right," Nathan said quietly. "We'll do this your way." He spent the night outside, sitting on the porch steps. The shepherd remained near the fence line, watching. Neither of them slept. Dawn broke over the Montana mountains, and Olivia arrived for a checkup. "How was the first night?" she asked, noting the untouched food bowl. "We're adjusting," Nathan said, exhaustion in his voice. When Olivia reached for her bag, the shepherd reacted instantly. His hackles raised, a deep growl rumbled in his chest. She took a step back, and the dog pressed himself into a corner, eyes wild with panic. "This isn't just fear," she observed. "This is trauma." As days passed, progress was slow. The dog alternated between aggression and complete withdrawal. But Nathan never pushed, never demanded. Instead, he spoke to him as he had to soldiers he once led, offering space, patience, and quiet reassurance. Then came the storm. At the first crack of thunder, the shepherd bolted, blind with panic. Nathan chased after him, rain soaking his clothes. He found the dog cowering in a drainage ditch, shaking violently. Sitting in the mud beside him, Nathan spoke softly. "I know what it's like when the thunder sounds like mortars, when every shadow holds a threat, but you can't live in that place forever." Hours passed, the rain slowed, and the shepherd, hesitant but resolute, took his first step toward Nathan. It took weeks, but something shifted between them. The dog, now called Shadow, began choosing to stay close, following Nathan at a distance. Trust, fragile but growing, had formed. But Shadow was more than just a rescue. He was a survivor of something larger. As Olivia uncovered his past, a dark truth emerged. Shadow wasn't just a discarded military dog. He was a witness to something powerful men wanted buried. Nathan realized that bringing Shadow home wasn't just about saving one life. It was about uncovering a story that needed to be told. Shadow's journey was just beginning. What he had endured, what he had survived, would lead to a reckoning no one could have expected. Some stories change lives. This one was about to change everything. If this story moved you, let us know in the comments. And if you believe in the power of second chances, hit that like button and subscribe to Timeless Stories, where every story deserves to be told.